Today, we're taking a look across the whole of Xbox's extensive family tree to give you a little update on what each studio is cooking up right now. Some of them are imminent arrivals, while others are mere specs out on the horizon, but they'll all be coming straight to Xbox Game Pass in due course.
343 Industries now have a decade's worth of experience crafting top-class Halo games, and everything we've learned so far about Halo Infinite suggests that they've put it to very, very good use. First off, it's going to look incredible, especially on the Xbox Series X, where you can gravity hammer the heck out of your friends in glorious 120 frames per second. Secondly, the multiplayer will be completely free to play, meaning that you can enjoy a deathmatch with all your friends, even if they don't have the full game or an Xbox Live Gold membership. Finally, you won't be surprised to find out that Infinite will feature a Battle Pass system because, honestly, it's unheard of nowadays not to have one of them in your game. But the really sweet side of it is that these passes won't expire, leaving you free to keep working through them even after the season has ended. So you can now be leveling up on your own time, folks.
While Halo fans have never had to wait too long for another entry into their beloved sci-fi series, those who have been keeping a candle burning for Double Fine's Psychonauts have been a little more starved for attention. But that ends this August. From grim Fandango to brutal legend, you know that anything with Tim Schafer involved is going to be overflowing with wicked humour, weird-ass characters, and a hypnotic style. And Psychonauts 2 clearly ticks all those boxes. The stellar art design and Saturday morning cartoon gone horribly wrong vibe of Psychonauts has always been one of its best features, and the new game is going to pop just beautifully on the Xbox Series X and S thanks to its Xbox exclusive HDR.
And speaking of cult classics, don't forget that we'll also be getting a rebooted return to the Perfect Dark franchise thanks to The Initiative. Founded back in 2018 with the entire sole purpose of creating AAA titles for you Xbox gamers to devour, The Initiative will be reimagining the critically acclaimed spy shooter and introducing players to a future world where environmental catastrophe, rather than, the old alien warfare, poses a grave threat to humanity's continued existence. And since existing makes up a lot of what we do on a day-to-day basis, it's up to Joanna Dark to save the day, which may involve infiltrating the largest corporations on the planet to find out what role they played in the whole kerfuffle and what exactly it is they're so keen to cover up. No biggie there. We haven't had much to go on since the stunning reveal trailer, so you can bet we'll be keeping a close eye on The Initiative going forward.
Ninja Theory are known for telling epic, action-packed stories, which usually revolve around troubled heroes with a penchant for close-quarters combat. From Monkey's acrobatic antics in Enslaved: Odyssey to the West, to Dante's smirky demon slicing in DMC, each Ninja Theory game lets you take a nice, direct approach towards conflict resolution. And going off the trailer, Hellblade 2 will be no exception. Using Unreal Engine 5, the second chapter in Senua's saga looks likely to be even more brutally beautiful than the first, as our haunted Pictish warrior ventures over to Iceland, for what we strongly doubt will be a relaxing getaway. Far too much occult chanting going on for that. We don't have a release date yet, but you can expect to see Hellblade 2 charging onto Game Pass at some time in the future. And that's not even all Ninja Theory have up their sleeves. The first Hellblade was hailed for its authentic depiction of psychosis, and the studio is going to push further in this direction with an experimental horror game known as Project Mara, which explores mental health issues based on real-life accounts.
RPG Kings Obsidian are another top-tier developer with a couple of major projects in the works, although we don't currently know a ton about either of them, except that they're on the way. They'll be further expanding the Pillars of Eternity universe with a first-person RPG called Avowed that takes place within the same realm. From the reveal trailer, this looks like one to watch for Elder Scrolls fans who are on the hunt for the next game that'll let them wield a sword in one hand and conjure a massive, fireball with the other. That's multitasking, And then, of course, there is The Outer Worlds 2, which Obsidian announced via perhaps the most tongue-in-cheek trailer I've ever seen grace E3. Again, we basically know nothing about it, but given how skillfully the first game blended biting satire and gung-ho sci-fi action, we're more than ready to start getting psyched now. And finally, Obsidian are also the dastardly minds behind the creepy, crawly survival game Grounded, which has been getting both creepier and crawlier thanks to the recent Shroom and Doom update. With a full release coming sometime in the future, you can expect loads more miniature mayhem on the way.
Everwild might be the most elusive game on this list, because despite the fact that Rare first showed it off back in 2019, we still don't really know what it is, which only makes us want it more. The trailers paint a picture of a lush fantasy world, brimming with strange creatures and gorgeous scenery, all rendered in bright colours and shaded cells. Even with no real idea of how the game will play, it's just the sort of world you just want to dive into. From the halcyon days of Conker, Banjo and Kazooie, right up to the swashbuckling success of Sea of Thieves, Rare have shown themselves to be one of the most gleefully creative developers in gaming history, so we're not worried, just so very, very curious.
One of the highlights of this year's Xbox and Bethesda showcase was the jaw-dropping trailer we got to see of Playground Games' latest Forza Horizon title. The acclaimed open-world racer series has taken the long road down to Mexico, leading to the biggest and most beautiful map Playground have ever produced. Go racing along the ridge of a volcano, tear through a sleepy seaside town, or kick up dust out in the desert. Whichever part of the terrain you choose to go tearing through, you know it's going to look absolutely incredible thanks to Forza Horizon 5's photogrammetric scenery and stunning 4K display. And if you pop the hood, you'll find an adventurous new solo mode called Expedition, a vibrant social hub for you to roam around in with your friends, and an events lab mode that lets you craft anything from your own custom tracks to whatever crazy car-based minigame your brain can cook up. So if you're an Xbox Game Pass member and a petrol head at the same time, November can't come fast enough. Then, sparkling in an alluring fashion somewhere further off on the horizon, we also have a brand new Fable game to get excited about. The teaser trailer gives away pretty much nothing once again, but come on, it's a new Fable game, guys. The hype is there.
The gaming community's hunger for zombie content tends to be about as insatiable as the undead's own hunger for brains, so it's a good thing Undead Labs are on their way with the third installment in the State of Decay franchise. Rather than having you play as a gun-toting superhero out to change the fate of the world all by themselves, State of Decay gives you an entire community to take care of. Switching freely between its citizens allows you to utilize all of their unique skills while you scavenge for resources and fortify your home. But you'll have to be careful where you step, because if one of your happy campers ends up getting chomped, there's no bringing them back. The third game looks set to make survival even more difficult by dropping you into a frigid setting where you'll have to worry about both head colds and zombie attacks. Plus, there now appears to be zombified animals on the loose too, so there's that.
Moving swiftly on from zombies to vampires, a few games made a bigger splash at E3 this year than Arkane Studios' freshly revealed Redfall. We already knew they had Deathloop on the way to PC, a game which sounds like Groundhog Day except with way more assassins and slightly less Bill Murray. But the Dishonored devs also look set to deliver another atmosphere-heavy action game, this time set amongst the quaint island community of Redfall, where the residents are sadly now being ruled over by a cult of wealthy vampires and their various underlings. So it's up to your ragtag team of psychics, snipers, and other well-armed oddballs to save the day. While Arkane Studios have made their name offering incredible, story-driven solo experiences, Redfall will see them boldly venturing into multiplayer territory with the option to seamlessly switch into co-op with up to 3 other players. Because your friends kill vamps, and if they don't kill vamps, well, they ain't no friend of mine.
Houston, we have a release date. Bethesda used E3 to show off a new trailer for their massively anticipated spacefaring game, Starfield, and while it left the actual nuts and bolts of it still pretty much shrouded in mystery, it did tell us to set our sights on the 11th of November 2022. But honestly, we would still be wildly stoked for it even if they hadn't shown anything. After all, this is the studio responsible for several of the greatest games of the last 20 years, working on a brand new IP for the first time in about as long. It's kind of a big deal. And that's not all. The next full installment in the critically acclaimed, commercially successful, and just generally really good Elder Scrolls series is also glittering off on the horizon. There are plenty of rumours and rumblings about where Bethesda's next fantasy epic will take us, but nothing has been officially mapped out. Still, we can all but guarantee that you'll want to be along for the ride.
The good and possibly slightly demented folks at Tango Gameworks have already proven themselves to be masters of mind-bending horror through the excellent Evil Within games, and their latest entry suggests they've got plenty of spookiness left in the tank. Ghostwire Tokyo takes place in a version of the Japanese capital where most of its residents have mysteriously vanished, Rapture style, ooh. In their place, all kinds of otherworldly entities have come swaggering in to mess with all of those who were left behind, so you've got some ghost busting to do. Fortunately, you also possess a mixture of martial arts and magic that makes you a pretty efficient exorcist and just an all-round sort of badass video game character. You know exactly what I mean. While they might be known for survival horror games where running and hiding is often the only way to survive, Ghostwire Tokyo looks like it will literally let you punch evil straight in the face.
And last, but in no way least, we've got Machine Games, the talented folks behind recent Wolfenstein hits like Youngblood and the new Colossus. When it comes to paranormal Nazi bashing, these guys are pretty much the best in the business, which makes them an absolutely perfect fit for the man who's been melting the faces of Third Reich soldiers for 40 years, Indiana Jones. The world's foremost archaeologist in the field of adventure and ass-kicking, Jones is now poised to make his grand return to the world of video games, giving fans a chance to don their virtual fedoras once again. With only a brief teaser trailer to go on so far, it's impossible to say where Indy's next expedition will take him or what quasi-historical treasures he'll be looking to uncover. But the fact it's even being made means we just can't wait to find out.
Phew, so that's just about everything that Xbox's extended family are currently working on, or at least everything we know about so far. Let me know which studios you're currently standing down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for all the latest on any upcoming titles. Bye bye everyone!